What's my email? All right, today we're going to write quadratic equations, which is what we were doing yesterday, except we're not doing these all by regression this time. So we've got 3 different scenarios that you'll have for your assignment. The first one is if you are given a point and the vertex. If you are given a point and the vertex, I'm going to call my point x1, y1, and the vertex would be hk. If you're given a point and the vertex, look at what you use. Vertex form. If you're given a point and a vertex, then you use vertex form. Excellent. If you're given a point and the x-intercepts, remember we call those P and Q, then you use intercept form. If you're given a point and the x-intercepts, you will use intercept form. And then the third scenario, according to the book, if you're given 3 different points, you would write and solve a system of 3 equations and 3 variables, but we are not going to do that. Okay. Instead, I'm going to leave that for honors classes, or if you go to pre-calc next year, you will learn how to do that. So instead, when we have questions that just have 3 points, we're going to use the quadratic regression feature on the calculator, which you already practiced. So we already know how to do the last one. Okay? Example 1. Oh, I didn't save my graph on it. I have a graph. You guys have a graph. Oh, there's the graph. Okay, first thing you want to do is you want to look and say, what information am I given? So this is a performer who's shot out of a cannon. What information are we given? Look at this graph. Andrew, what can you tell from this graph that I'm for sure given?
You're given the vertex and the point.
Okay, I am for sure given that vertex, which we call the vertex HK. And it's over here, right in the middle at the very top, HK. So our vertex is 50, 35. And then I am given another point. Does anybody know what point that is? Does anybody know what point that is? It is the y-intercept. But if you look at all of our stuff that we're given and what form we use, none of it says y-intercept. So it doesn't matter that it's the y-intercept. All that it matters is it's another point on the graph. So if we're given the vertex and another point, what form should we use? Let's try that again. If I'm given the vertex and another point, what form should I use? So vertex form, do you have it memorized? Do you have it memorized? Then write it every single time. Y equals A parentheses, we're not going to worry about the B for this, X minus H close parentheses squared plus K. If you don't have it memorized, write it every single time. Now what we're going to do is we're going to plug in the vertex and we're going to plug in the x and the y. Plugging in the information that I have. Plugging in the vertex and x and y. I'll even color code it so you can see, oh, the vertex down here is in purple. So the h is 50, the k is 35. The x is 0, the y is 15. So I put in the x, y, and I put in the vertex. Where people make silly mistakes is forgetting that squared. When we're doing quadratics, that squared has to be there. If you forget it, you will get the wrong answer. Make sure we write that squared in. So now what we're going to do is we're going to solve for what's missing. What do we not know? We don't know A. And A could be a reflection, or it could be a stretch, or it could be a shrink. We're going to solve for A. And remember to use your order of operations. Remember how we solve equations, because I have people that make mistakes because they forget how to solve equations. So what are we going to do first by order of operations? Let's make this simpler before we start solving. What should we do first? Inside the parentheses, 0 minus 50. Ever have an answer? Negative 50. Thank you. Squared plus 35. Now what should I do?
Multiply the arguable squared.
Order of operations, parentheses, then exponent. So 15 equals A times 2,500 plus 35.
And multiply the
So next is multiplication. So we're going to multiply together A times 2,500. So what's A times 2,500? Okay, subtract 35. Divide by 2,500. So once I take negative 20 divided by 2,500, how many people pulled their calculator out? I know, you're not the only one. I heard all your buttons go. So I'm going to keep, this semester I'm going to talk, or this semester, this next quarter I'm going to really be talking to you about classes for next year, because you kind of need to know the difference of what you're going to sign up for next year. If you have to take your calculator out to do negative 20 over 25, like, not that you want to take your calculator, but if you have to, you may be somebody who wants to take trig and applied math next, or applied algebra. If you choose to take the calculator out, but you can reduce that by hand, that's pre-calc. So I'm going to reduce it by hand, but if you did it on your calculator, I'll tell you how to do that as well. So I'm doing negative 20 divided by 2,500, and I look at this, and then what can cancel out right away? The zeros, you can divide by 10, and now I have negative 2 over 250, and they're both even. So I can cancel what out? Right, divide by 2. So I get negative 1 over 125. If you typed negative 20 and divided by 2,500 on your calculator, how do you make it go into a fraction? You do math, and then it's enter, enter. And yeah, it just changes to fraction for you. So the difference between the top one and the bottom one would be, are you going to take that faster pace next year, or are you not? If you are a junior in, no, a sophomore in this class, then you should be taking pre-cognitive. If you're a junior, you have options for next year. We'll talk more about that though. Okay, so negative 125 is the A value. Now what we're going to do is we're going to write the equation. We're going to have our final answer. To write the equation, you plug in A and HK only. Just A and HK. What am I not plugging in? X and Y. So I write my equation as Y equals, my A value is negative 1 over 125, parenthesis, X minus 50, close parenthesis squared, plus 35. So that's the equation. When you have that and you're ready to go on, flip the page, and there is a student practice. So you try. So you read it to yourself. Write the equation of the parabola that passes through the point, negative 1, 2, and has a vertex of 4, negative 9. Which form do you use? Vertex form. If you don't know it, write it down. Where's your file? So put in your vertex. I wrote the vertex form on the board if you forgot it, and you don't want to keep flipping back and forth. Remember when we write the final answer, just put in A, H, and K. You'll still have Y and X. Okay, so you all got a super head start. I'm going to fill in everything. H and K be 4 and negative 9. And then X and Y is going to be negative 1 and 2. Then we have to simplify, so we'll have 2 equals A times negative 5 squared minus 9. So we do negative 5 squared. 2 equals A times 25 minus 9. That's fine. And I'll have 2 equals 25A minus 9. Then we solve it. So we're going to add 9 to both sides. 11 equals 25a, divide by 25. And I get 11/25. Then I have to write it in the equation. So I have to go back to vertex form, but only plug in the vertex and the a. So y equals 11/25 x minus 4 squared minus 9. Questions? Did anybody forget the squared? Forget the squared. Okay. Remember, I'm recording this class right now, so you guys can go watch this if I'm going too fast. Example 2. Now we've got writing an equation using a point and x-intercept. So this is going to go into intercept form. Intercept form, y equals a, parenthesis, x minus p, close parenthesis, open parenthesis, x minus q. X and y would be the point. P is an x-intercept and q is an x-intercept. So on this graph, where are the x-intercepts? At 4 and 24. So this will be my P and this will be my Q. So that means my ordered pair, my XY, is what point? 0, 9.6, which is the y-intercept, but none of these use the y-intercept, so it doesn't even matter if it is or not. The x-intercepts that matter. So we're going to plug in x, y, p, and q. Let's see. So I've set it up, everything that I'm not plugging in. I'm going to put in x. No, I'm going to put in p and q first. My p is 4, and my q is 24. Then my x, y is 0, 9.6, but there are two x's, so I have to put 0 in both of those places, and then 9.6 is the y. Now we're going to solve for a. So we have 9.6 equals a, and we have to do parentheses first. Negative 4 and negative 24. So 9.6 is a multiplied by, did anybody do it yet? 96. We divide both sides by 96. And you either get 0.1 or as a fraction, 1/10. The only reason why I'm going to use the 0.1 instead of the 1/10. The reason why I'm choosing here is because the 9.6 was written as decimal. So I'm going to write this one as a decimal, just kind of keep it the same form. So our final answer, you're going to plug in your A and the x-intercepts. So you leave x and y again. You leave x and y in the final answer. Leave x and y. So I have y equals 0.1 times x minus 4 times x minus 24. They ask another question, though. There's another question there. What's it say? What's the coldest temperature? So if I'm looking at this picture, you're not be able to guess. But we need to find it for sure. If I'm looking at this picture, where is the coldest temperature? And don't tell me a number. You tell me, like, according to this parabola, where is the coldest temperature? The vertex, the minimum point. That's where the coldest temperature is. It might be -10, but maybe it's off a teeny bit and I just can't tell. So let's check. How do we find the vertex? It's going to be on our test next week when it's in intercept form. What'd you say? That's the y-intercepts. So not 0. When we know the x-intercepts, here they are, P and Q. When we know the x-intercepts, how do we find the vertex? We define the axis of symmetry first. So how do I find the axis of symmetry when we know these points? What were you saying? Right, so we're not going to add the difference. We're going to literally add these numbers up and divide by 2. So we're averaging them. We're finding the middle. You might even be able to count and figure it out, but these are big numbers. I'm just going to do 4 plus 24, divide by 2. That gives me an AOS at x equals 14. So if I know that my axis of symmetry is 14, then I know my vertex is 14 comma something. How do I find that something? Plug it into the equation we just found. So for our vertex, we're going to plug in 14 for both x's. And again, the difference between if you're planning on taking pre-calculus here, if you're planning on taking trig and applied math, would be, could you do this without the calculator? You're allowed to multiply in any order, so I'm going to multiply maybe 10 times -10 first, which is -100. And then a tenth of -100. -10. So what is our coldest temperature? Yeah, coldest is -10 degrees. What unit?
Celsius.
How'd you know that?
Says on the graph.
On the graph. Excellent. All right, now there's a U-try. The U-try doesn't have any extra questions. It's just the equation part. So these you're going to do using stat. So go ahead and try this. Okay. Is it purple or just black? Okay. I second guess myself because of my light. You know, like how when like really old black tape gives you swatches every time that always have that one, but it's cool. All right. Who needs help? You try. It is 128. We're on the student practice. Are we using vertex form? No. Why? They don't give you the vertex. That should be the answer. What do they give you? Intercepts, so we're using intercept form. These are the things you have to do on your own, is read the question and think, what form are we using? You try. You need to keep the A there. You multiply these together, except this one's wrong. I'm about to do it.
Oh, I see.
Okay. So I went through and I filled out my formula. And then looking, when you're filling out your formula, you may notice that this 2 minus negative 2 ends up being a plus. So now we've got 5 equals a times 4 times negative 2. So 5 equals a times negative 8 plus 2. So then when I divide by negative 8, I get a equals negative 5a. Now when we rewrite it, you put in your p and your q and your a. So you have to write x and y still in the equation. So y equals, my a is negative 5/8. Then x minus plus 2. And then x minus 4. The next two, which I'm going to go over there in just a moment, the next two, we're just going to use our stat and our quadratic regressions. If you know exactly what I'm talking about, start the next two. If you don't know, then you just have to wait for me to change page. So if you have a book, page 80, it's kind of hard to see, but it will be up before you can see it there. You can start. If you don't have a book, there's one that's over here. Yes. So example 3, you're going to do using quadratic regression. I just didn't get there yet. So if you're doing example 3, there's a long way of doing this, but we're not going to do that in CP. You will do that if you take pre-calc next year. I don't know if Trig and Applied does it because I don't teach that class, but we're just going to use stat, edit, type in your list. And then stat, calc, quadratic regression. And that will give you the equation for example 3. I'll let you do it, and then we'll check answers. So try number 5 if you've already got number example 3. Try the next one. Walk around and see if you have them right. Good. So I just moved right minus instead of plus negative. You know how to do it? You need to learn. There's videos on the internet. I didn't look them up because I don't have that one. Yeah. Can you see the assignment? It's kind of late. We're here today. In the book. What's the equation for the first one? Y equals negative 1, but I'm not going to write the 1. I'm just going to write negative x squared minus 2x plus 3. Is that what it is? Yeah. So that, and I didn't show you on the calculator because I just wrote down the key tricks because we've been doing this for a few days. But that's what it would look like on your calculator when you typed it all in. And you see that A is negative 1, B is negative 2, C is 3. You're just going to plug them in. And then what did you guys get? A lot of you already did the next one. What did you get for the next one? 2?
Minus x.
Plus what? 1. Yeah, that's what it was. So if you worked ahead, that's the last one. But those last 2 we practiced on our assignments the day before. So your assignment is in the book. It's really short. Sorry. It's really short, and this is bluff day tomorrow. So you got questions, come see me in SH. If your calculator's not working, come see me. If you want to take a picture of the book before you leave, how much time we get 40?
Yeah, we have 5 minutes.
Great. So you have 5 minutes to take a couple pictures, or you probably do have to go in 5 minutes. Only 6 questions long. Okay, and I'm going to post this video as well if you need to go back and watch what we did.